Yes, welcome to the Vanguard Show on podcast, episode number 44, May 19th, 2024, which is coincidentally who I call the progenitor Panther, Malcolm X. And certainly we know how Malcolm was legendary, and we have another legend on the screen right now, and Dr. Sadaru. Ned, it is such an honor. I love you and your wife and everything you guys do. Welcome to the Vanguard Show.
Well, it is an honor for me to be on this show with my comrade,
Right on.
who himself has, as I say, an illustrious resume in terms of his consistent work in the benefit of the people. So, again, I'm so happy to be on the show at this time.
Oh, right on, brother. And as you see, I'm rocking the gear from your
Yeah, you.
store, Oaklandish, because
Yeah.
my wife and I have got some gear from there, and we want to talk about not only Oaklandish but also the Black Panther Party alumni legacy tours and talks, and then
Right.
the new thing you just did with First Wave. So, first of all, my first question is, tell us a little, the audience, about your upbringing, and then when and why did you join the Black Panther Party?
Boy, basically, my upbringing, my father was a black man from the South, from Texas. He joined the Army Air Force. He was actually part of General Patton's 371st Tank Division.
Mm,
And growing up, he used to mention the symbol, which was the symbol was the Panther, right?
right. Mhm.
Malik, little did I know. So we traveled around to different bases in different states and what have you. Ended up coming back to Sacramento, and he would tell us stories about what would happen to black men, how he had to leave Orange, Texas. My dad was outspoken. He also was not like a lot of parents. Was one of the few parents I feel that supported me when I joined the Black Panther Party. So my exposure
Mhm.
grew up in Sacramento, California, and went to Luther Burbank High School. And we were at a cross because I'd already joined SNCC, the
Oh,
West Coast aspect of it.
mhm.
And ironically,
Mhm.
the northern churches were a little different because when me and my friend Clifford Washington, we
Okay.
went there with our SNCC buttons on, they told us unless we take those buttons off, we're going to have to leave the church. And I said, we looked at each other and said, adios, y'all. God
Okay.
bless you. We met. And it happened to a lot of us because there was a misconception on their part.
Mhm.
So I worked in the arena with students, and of course, the unbelievable debate that was going on. And was basically, Malika, was this:
Mhm.
would you sit at that counter and let some racist pour hot coffee over you,
No.
or spit on you, or punch you in the back of your head? And so we were saying no. And as a matter of fact, we don't want to sit at their counter. We want to have our own black businesses. Which SNCC? What do you want? Black power. And of course,
Right.
initially, then they already started demonized.
Right.
Here comes the new Mau Mau crew, right? And
Okay.
we want black businesses.
Right.
And I tell people all the time when we talk about the symbol of the Panther,
Mhm.
which was even borrowed by Bobby and Huey, and the concept of Clark College, and that the original symbol was drawn up by three women, two black students, and one was a white student. And the symbol of the panther took many forms, but the form that we have come to know, and of course, Emery has his versions, many others, which was the version that was on the panther paper. The idea was simply using it as a voting symbol. And the white folks had the white rooster, the panther eats up the white rooster.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't know part of that story of the civil rights workers, which were 99% black, who came from the North.
Mhm.
And the people would meet at the churches. And the buses that they still had that were functional, that weren't burned out tires, they would load them up and shuttle them to the poll so
Mhm.
they could vote in mass. And there's a big billboard, a historical billboard that says, pull the lever, vote, and take your blank home. Or
With a gun on his hip, as he stated by the sign, right?
yes, that's right. So, and I tell people, what do you think they would burn the black churches? I said there were meeting focal points for voter registration and shuttling people to the polls. So we're very active. We're looking at that. We're looking at the civil rights movement and the whole idea. And we're saying this is something we wouldn't want to do. And for me, 1967, that was the year I cut school. But at the same time, I had another meeting at Sac State, and I'll talk about that, who was speaking. But I was downtown, and it was declared senior cut day. And Brother Malik, I didn't have anybody else with me. I'm standing there, I'm looking at Reagan, governor then, playing with a group of little suburban kids, little scouts with. And all of a sudden, I see the state police run out there like crazy and whisk him off. And he left them kids standing there. So maybe 200 yards on the other end across J Street, I saw a group of people going in the Capitol. Right. So naturally, I went down there. Okay. Now realizing I'd be on camera and my parents don't go to school that day. And so I go down there and these kids came in behind me. Okay. I said they were first group of white radicals. And they were saying, "Oh, this is cool." Right. They were just standing by themselves, about 20 or 30 of them. So we went in. And I saw Bobby Seale standing on the assembly floor. They meant to go on the balcony. And the sight that I saw, Brother Malik, the legislators underneath their tables. That's why they try to compare the January 6th to what we. And they were confused because they wanted to be up there. And when he started reading and quoting the Constitution about our right to bear arms and defend ourselves. And a lot of people don't know that that group of the Forte brothers, Emory Douglas, there were only 5 original Panthers because they were local. We were just hearing about them. They hadn't extended beyond Oakland. The majority of those folks were from the community that went in there. No black leather jackets, no uniforms. So what impressed me, and you might see it on the one video where the state officer grabbed Brother Emory Douglas' arm, who I didn't know at the time. Okay. Am I under arrest? Remember that?
I remember that, yes.
Am I under arrest?
You say, take your hands off me. I remember that.
Whites were like, we ain't never seen a black man push the police back like that. To us, that was another like, whoa, this is what we felt. These guys ain't taking it. So there's something about them. So, of course, we know the story, what happened to them, and it was just you in Oakland at that time. After they got arrested, they stopped at a gas station. We knew that. They didn't know, but we knew it was going to happen to them. So I continued on doing what I was doing. In 1968, Brother Charles Brunson, who gone to talk to Bobby. We had a little meet, myself, Jack Strivers, my brother Lester Mott, Gloria Abernathy, Eugene Baltazar, and several others. We had a little meeting, and we were out. I think we were at a little hamburger stand, not too far, right across 30 Broadway, where 35th Street intersects where we had our office. And we said, yeah, we'd be interested. Okay. So I'm forming a branch chapter here in Sacramento. And so that began the story of us joining. But I stayed on the campuses, stayed organizing, and also the story of me and Brother Jack Strivers, Jamu. Our route was selling the community, but also we would sell newspapers downtown. And so we got the idea one day, and Brother Malik, you know good well, we'd always go down to the bay when the period of time when everybody's wearing black leather jackets.
Right,
so with LA.
Right.
And I remember at one point we all came from, we were down the streets of Central. We met Geronimo on the LA contingency. So well, you guys are out of uniform. I said, come down to Sacramento, 110, and go to LA, see how hot it is. But you know, and so I was still going to school. Right. And I was running track and field. And a couple of my cohorts, you might know, they were running at San Jose State.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And interesting enough, Michael Torrance and Clark Bailey and Bill Calhoun, who also, you know, we became the lumping afterward, were already active at San Jose State and San Jose City and working with Harry Edwards. The plan was to boycott all sports, and eventually every sport and the pro sports. But of course, it didn't turn out that way. We know what happened. 1969, I was coming in. We were getting ready to have this big meet at the time, and my coach Jim Sacker calls me, and he was shaking. He looked like a Hoosier. He wasn't a politically educated radical at that time. You know, it was 1967, 69. Right. Okay. So he said, you had visitors? I said, who? I said, I've been going to class to FBI. He said, they give you said, either you stop doing what you're doing or else. I said, or else what?
Mm.
He says, if you stop what you're doing, they'll send you in any school in America and put money in your pocket.
Mm.
And if you do this, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, anywhere.
Mm.
So I said, what are the consequences? I said, oh, the consequences will be grave if you don't. And he grabs me and he says, well, shut me, what are you going to do? They had shaken him up so much that he knew my activities. And here was this man who didn't have anybody supporting it. How wrong they came at him. Well, I told him I have to keep on doing it. I never saw him again, Malik. 1969, June, Father's Day is when they vamped on the Sacramento office. And then in December in LA. And Ronald Reagan made that statement, if they want a bloodbath, let the bloodbath begin.
Mm.
And to backtrack just a little bit, John Moon and I said, hey, let's go give this brilliant idea. Let's go give a paper to the governor. We actually went in there, big old foyer. Okay. I think his secretary was Julie. We said, is the governor in? And we didn't know, we were young. I'm James Mott. And this man, Jack, we're introducing ourselves. And who are we? We're from the Black Panther Party. She goes like this. I said, we have a paper fan. Would you make sure he gets it? She goes, looks at it, the early drawings, the pigs. And So 2 weeks later, we came back. It was bi-weekly before it went weekly. And we said, did the governor see the paper? She said, oh, yes, he did. I said, how did he like it? He was very upset. He said, well, here's another one of our compliments. And guess what started happening? All the state workers, state worker, Attorney General Jesse Unruh, all these people, state attorney generals, the treasurer, all the highfalutin people would make it a point to buy a newspaper. Then the workers, regular state folks, so we go downtown and we sell 1,000, 1,500 papers downtown with all the state work. So that's how the statement came out. We were feeding more children than the U.S. government.
Wow.
They were actually reading what the party was doing, whether they agreed with what we were saying in our colorful language at that time or not. So after that, I was in Sacramento, ended up after about 6 months, 6 more months, we closed the office and ended up in Richmond, California, with our cat. He just got released. I still call him Brother Dawood.
Oh, Dawood. Okay.
Yeah, Dawood. Who was accused of killing that park ranger.
Right.
And Point Reyes and the two informants. They paid one of them $10,000, and back in '74. That was almost like $100,000.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
A lot of money. He was a beautiful. I remember we were in South Richmond. Then I got brought up to the 10th Street Center, which is right down from Central, and eventually transferred to Central headquarters, where since my father was military, and my good brother Randy Williams and Landon, Captain Landon.
Yeah, I know about Landon, yes.
So I became part of the original Central headquarters, security. And of course, part of my responsibility is, like you always see pictures of BJ when Huey got out going to court, I was there with David. When everything else, Bobby was locked up, Chief of Staff David and June were running the party, along with my side, what have you. So I was responsible everywhere he went. The old saying, Malik, this is what they would tell us. All right, Brother James, if anything happens, make sure it happens to you first.
Oh, that's right. They said that. The same thing that happens to either Huey or whoever, it's going to happen to you.
That's right. So you better be the first we hear about in your children.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Around afterward, yeah.
So, and BJ always speaks so glowingly of you and your wife, and even the work that CBO is doing with you guys. So I just want to shout that out as well. Right on. I mean, BJ and I mean, you know what? It's like all of us. We have this, and people said, how do you guys have that? I said, I haven't spoken to you in a while. It's this undying bond and love and conviction. And right now, and maybe this will be for another time, they are actually taking a look at, as opposed to you falling apart mentally, like we're seeing people do, you guys became stronger. So they're trying to look at that dynamic
And I said, you idiots, if you ever figure it out, you'll see what drives people's quest for revolution around the world.
That's right.
We thought we got rid of all of them. That's why they really don't know what they're in for.
Right.
They've created generations of resistance that will
And
go on.
is that what that educational tour is about, right?
That's exactly what it's about. Now, like yesterday, I had a group of students.
Stanford,
They
right?
are freshman students from Stanford. It was just beautiful. And their advisor, I mean, they asked so many questions. Malik, we are seeing, it was like deja vu. We want to know, and how can we use our professions, whatever we do, to be part of the community? So I gave them great examples of people in the medical field who dedicated their life to real change. People in every arena who said, I'm going to stay who I am. This is who I am for the rest of my life. So those tours, we actually are educational walks. We actually just changed educational walk and talks. Okay. Right. And we have this little route in downtown Oakland. And we also go to the AFRAM Museum and Reference Library, where there's books that go back 200 years. Wow. And they call it the reference. We even have a security guard in there because I had a group come in from Florida, and the guy was going around for me. And the book, some of the book, he was going like this. This was banned. This would get banned. This would get banned. That would get banned. This would get banned. And he said, and don't think about anything about the Black Panther Party. We were all laughing about it, right?
Wow.
So the reference library, and they have a network in Oakland if the person wants to get it, but also we tell people, if there's a book you see and you want it, here, go online, Marcus Books. They are on Telegram. Anyway, but they still got on the side of the building the picture of Malcolm.
Right. Well, see, I have relatives in Oakland. Well, I had relatives in Oakland off Telegraph.
Yeah.
In Berkeley, really? Yeah, in Berkeley. So I used to come up from LA a lot, and I know Marcus Books and the family, business. The daughter's terrific. I don't think the parents are still around, but it's such a great bookstore, like SO1 in Los Angeles. Yes.
Yeah, your mom's still there. I talked to the daughter. They're pretty much, the daughter came in they're pretty much keeping the business going, because I'm telling them that this is a legendary, iconic, and if they could only talk about the story, could tell who came through there, it would be totally amazing. So getting back to being at Central, and also, the story of the lumping, it was Emory's idea. He said art and music, and it was amazing. Ricky Vincent wrote the book Party Music, and how we influenced the work. We heard from every artist you can imagine. We heard from Dead Prez. We heard from Chuck D. We heard all these artists, and Boots Riley, who did the review of the book, and Jeff Chan. It was a game changer. And when they heard the lyrics, some of the rappers said, "Man, you guys were raw." I said, at that point in time, and how we challenged the Temptations, we challenged everybody. The end result, we got to give the people, give them what they want. OJ's quoted the 10-point platform program: better housing, education. When God said, give more power to the people. I mean, all these other artists, Teddy Pendergrass then came to the school. Don Cornelius then came to help raise funds. We had all these artists, Bobby Hutchinson, who would give their time for the Oakland Community School Learning Center. He came, and that was the inspiration for Teddy Pendergrass to write the song and saying, "Wake up, everybody."
That's right. Wow.
Babies, educate the children. It's the incredible experience. And then not to mention the influence of John Lennon, all power to the people in his relationship with us. It's amazing. So my tenure, in terms of that, working on the campaign, which I mentioned to those young people, we were always in local electoral politics. When Huey was locked up, accused of killing Officer Fry, wounding the other. Right. They ran him for one the assembly district. Kathleen and Bobby at the time were being run for state assembly districts. And remember, Eldridge Cleaver was on the Peace and Freedom Party ticket.
That's right.
People, we take what we know for granted, but Brother Malik, people are just overwhelmed when we tell them, we thought you knew, but we find out that that knowledge has been lost. So they're just overwhelmed. We didn't know this. Wow. I said, of course you don't. And
Right.
this is why we are doing what we're doing. So the tours themselves are amazing. We have an opportunity. We get to the Afro Museum. We go upstairs. We have an area where we're actually able to really talk to them to find out how they're feeling.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, I tell them this sometimes 2.5 hours, depending upon, because a lot of times they don't want to leave by
Right.
the time we route. I
Right.
said, this is like you being blindfolded and touching the very tip of the trunk of the elephant.
Mm.
I said, I want you to get that picture
Right.
because it would take you ongoing to learn the truth about the work,
Mhm.
the Black Panther Party, and all those surrounding them. I tell them the story of what we call river CWs,
Mhm.
Barbara Lee, everybody.
Yeah.
You might as well be a Panther because
Right.
everything that happened to us happened to them. I
Right.
remember a brother who helped us do our for fortified for Central Headquarters. He had an architect business.
Mhm.
Starting black bill, I started messing with him. But this was part of the story. But the conviction
Right.
of the power of the people,
Mhm.
and reason why was because whatever you were in your suburbs, you heard millions were benefiting from what we were doing,
Right.
from all the unbelievable survival program concepts. So
Mhm.
from Central, then working with Cesar Chavez, 5 years, remember we supported
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
We had a chance, Mario Van Peebles
Mhm.
released his new movie.
Yeah.
You got to see it, but it's just, and so when he gave his talk, he, the
Yeah, we
first
met. We
showing,
we met with him in Los Angeles as well.
you did,
Yes, we did.
yeah.
Outstanding brother, and we even went to the record company that produced the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Boko
yeah,
and I. So yes, yeah, we're very familiar.
yeah. So he talked about the relationship of the party because I seen first I'd seen him in a while, but in 40th anniversary of Roots, they held it here, the Black Film Festival in Oakland with David Roach, and at the time Lou Gossett was there. We all sat down and talked. But with Mario, when I reminded him, I said, "Do you remember when you and your father would come to Central Headquarters during
Mhm.
that period?" He
Right.
said, "Yeah." And then your dad would go and Mel would go in there with Bobby and June and talk to them, and they always tell you, "Hey," they say, "Go with him to the middle room and y'all kick it and talk."
Mm.
He looked at me. He said, "That was you." I said, "That's right, Barney." So he
And then
talked all.
talk about the significance of Sweetback.
Yes, and
Oh my
how the
God.
Black Panther Party, when we put it in our newspaper with the circulation of almost 300,000 strong, and then they went to the Brown Beret, everybody, and they had lines around the corner. The Black Panther Party launched their film career, which he talked about. So he
Right.
had an opportunity while I was here to spend time with David Newton, who was very active. He worked with the unions, and of course Melvin. They had a chance to spend some time with them too, and the support is there. And you know what they were saying, Mario?
Mm.
We need you to build some studio in East Oakland. We'll support you. We're
Oh,
tired of the Tyler Perrys. We need real representation. And
right,
I looked,
right. That's
he started, he was laughing. Well, you know,
right.
we told him,
Yeah.
he said, you don't know, people in Oakland get serious. They make shit happen, basically.
That's
So,
it. That's true. That's true.
in essence, I told him that. So also teaching at the Oakland Community University was an amazing experience, and being there to see the educational citation for the state of California.
Yeah.
And each one, teach one, blowing people's minds with our curriculum, teaching our kids 2 languages, the science, everything that they did, the true formula of how to think, teaching children how to think. The world is your classroom. Each one, reach one,
Yeah.
each one, teach one.
That's it.
And finally, when we were challenged, the children testing 3 and 4 grades ahead
Wow.
of Oakland Public School District. But a lot of people say, well, that might not be too hard in most school districts.
Right.
Today, we just read a shocking, well, it should be shocking, that
Right.
only 2 out of, I forgot, so many children in Oakland can proficiently read.
Okay.
But these statistics mirror everywhere in America.
Okay.
And so, what the tours themselves, we've been dealing with a group of pediatricians
Okay.
from UCSF who are putting a concept together
Yeah.
what's the best thing we can do? I said, the best thing you can do is put a concept together with the knowledge that we can start giving. You can start in giving it to the young women. We care. We don't want you Black women to have high time birth rates where children are not born and you have health issues. They were very concerned. So this is this new generation. We also have within the network itself two things we're working on. One is a no-brainer. Just like the Breakfast of School Children program, we're creating a drug education program.
Very important.
Nobody is doing it. They're doing like they did in the 80s.
Right.
They kill each other or they die off, less we got to worry about.
Right. Right.
A large new number of young people who are now on fentanyl and everybody on drugs was a large number of people who supported Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Right.
So what do we tell people every time there is a major movement? They do what? Drugs is part of their old playbook. So that education program, and then we have a guy named Chris Amersalt, met him on a walk almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, him and his wife. He tells me that day, I want to work with the network. I'm going like, okay, all right. I said, what do you do? I'm a pharmacist. I said, fantastic. And he's worked wonders for all of us reviewing our medication and telling us whether you need to take this or need to take that, because that's what they're supposed to do. Right. And we want to we're creating a concept behind that pharmaceutical knowledge to the community about looking at what you're taking, whether you should be taking this or not, and going back to your doctor. But that is his side job. His daytime job, he negotiates for the state of California with all the major drug companies. And Brother Malik, is he a whistleblower? He's given us information. He filed a suit against the Justice Department already. Wow. But he's responsible for 15 million medical people in terms of how their drugs are disseminated and the cost factor that they're passing on. And he is passionate. Anybody who tells me I don't care what they do, I'm gonna continue doing that. If I lose my job, so what? I said you won't, because every time something happens, we're there. This is what the party did. I said, even then, I said we're there to make sure. So these are the kind of people that are part of the network in supporting all us elders. And I just want to tell you right now, you are hereby duly drafted into the network. We're going to talk more about that.
Right on. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. I just want to let you know. Because of the time thing. But I want to make sure you get the, how can people support the Black Panther Party Network? Tell us a little bit about the Oakland store and give us all your contact information, because we got about 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. The people can support the network. They can actually go online to our website, bppaln.org. And also we have Instagram, bppaln, which you're familiar with. Right. And we have our Facebook page also, Black Panther Legacy Network Facebook page. So they can go on there. But if they want to contribute, they can go on the website. There is a donation button. Okay. They can do a one-time concept, or we have monthly supporters also. Okay. They can support the network ongoing for as little as $10 a month. And also the sales from all the merchandise goes toward us. And we explain the concept of self-sufficiency. I say we get no grants. We get no loans. They're not going to do that. They stopped the one for UC Berkeley. So anything resolving around the party, not going to do that. So people can go online and do that. They can go online and look at the merchandise. We're getting ready to introduce a new line.
Yeah, I saw a new design. A lovely, great new design. Yes.
This is the power of the people.
Oh yes. Okay. Beautiful.
The power of the people. There we go. Yes, that is beautiful. And also, we're getting ready to launch, and it'll be 2 at a time. Okay. The educational series, the 10-point platform program. Okay. It'll actually have the design. Will actually have on there, and then down the line there'll be another series. Remember that breakfast programs are not just the guns. Yes. And then the big one, I'm going to tell you, we've created these jackets.
Oh wow, nice.
We'll talk about that, because when I'm gonna send you the stuff. When you see it, it has 66 in a Panther. So I'm part of that varsity, and we challenge young people. When did you join the varsity? I
Mm.
became aware in 1989. I became aware in 2001.
Right.
So the youngsters love it when they say, when are these coming out? I want to represent the
Right.
varsities. I step up to the knowledge. That's so
Beautiful,
there is
beautiful.
so much. Yeah, there's so much going. Programs and initiatives and campaigns we're involved in, and I'm going to be talking to you about these, and hopefully we can do another
Yeah, I want to do a
podcast.
round two because, like I said, it took us a while to get connected, and that
Yeah,
took a little time. But we're going to
yeah.
do a round two. But I just want to also say that I have so much respect for you and your wife, Sister Zafir, right?
Zafira.
Zafir,
Zafira.
yes. And again, you a great inspiration. I'm married, and I know you have to always be on the same page with your loved one. So I really appreciate your union.
Yes, and likewise to you. And it's the same thing with Professor Steve McCutcheon.
Mm.
We are talk about him doing the thing with you too.
Yes.
He
Oh,
just got here. He just revived. We were free for a while, but yeah, it's that union, that long term union. Brother Steve Long, Alta, and his wife. He's back in Georgia now, and
okay.
we have a lot of former party members who have that longevity and how important that working together, and that is a whole nother educational concept
Right.
to
Well,
young
I'm gonna
people.
try to bring you back in Black August because I
Okay,
think that'll be a perfect month to bring you back on so we can kind of finish up. But brother,
sounds good.
it's such a honor to speak with you. And again, I really appreciate the work you've done. And again, just keep up the great fight. I hope to be there in Oakland maybe in October
Oh,
because I do
fantastic.
have a photo exhibit. I'm trying to work with the Black Panther Party Museum. Maybe I can get a little photo exhibit there, and then of course, connect with you and yours. So I look forward to seeing you,
Absolutely.
brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was because Black Panther Party, we tell about the History Month,
Yeah.
and we know, wow, do you know it'll be 58 years
Wow.
of the
Wow.
founding of the Black Panther Party?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine, and this is what I tell everybody,
Mhm.
by the grace of the source, the creator of the universe,
Yeah.
can you imagine? We only have 2 more years.
Yes, sir.
It'll be that 60th year anniversary. It'll be
Wow.
all blown out. But we're going to be doing some great things. I'm looking forward to it
Good.
and looking forward to talking with you further and sending you. And also send out a link to some of the Saturday sessions that we have. So anytime you're able to check one out, not a problem.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
be
Well,
more than happy. But also you are drafted, so I'm going to
okay.
talk to you about that. I want that your information.